Hey guys, check it out. I got something to tell you about getting an education and how it changes you. Check it out. Hey guys, today I want to talk about how getting an education changes you. It's pretty deep. It's pretty deep. To give a little backstory for me, I dropped out of high school at 16 years old. It wasn't that I found it difficult or I don't know. There's a lot going on in my life, of course, but I just felt that I just couldn't keep on the road for going to high school. I got held back a couple years, things like that, so I was a little bit behind anyways. And originally I thought I was going to drop out of high school and then go to vocational school and then get a trade and go down that road. But quickly I realized that that wasn't for me. And I'm in Washington, D.C., and I started boxing. And I lived with my grandparents at the time. And my grandfather came to me and he said, boxing isn't going to pay the bills right now. So if you're not going to school, then you're getting a job. And one of the guys, there was a pro boxer there who was a bicycle courier. And he was talking about it, and he'd work during the day as a courier and go to the gym at night. And I thought I could do the same thing. I said, hey, I know how to ride a bike. And I became a bicycle courier. Lo and behold, 10 years of doing that, being a bicycle courier, and within that time I also became a dispatcher where I dispatched other bike couriers. You learn a lot about life. You spend that much time, especially as an 18-year-old growing into manhood, adulthood, and being on the streets of DC and going through all of that, risking life and limb to deliver some packages and everything like that. And it's a back-breaking job. Don't think that when you see somebody on a bike delivering a package through the city that they're just having some fun. It can be fun, but it's a serious job. And you learn a lot going through that. And 10-hour days, Monday through Friday, if you want to be good at it. And that was during a time where it was, you could make a pretty good money. But at any rate, so I didn't have any education though. So there wasn't really much else I could do in a way except for another entry-level, probably manual labor type job. I wasn't going to go flip burgers. Not that that's a bad thing to do. It's just not my personality. And so I was kind of starting to get to the end of that road, and I said, okay, I need to go in and get my GED, right? That's the first step. To do anything, you got to have something on paper, right? So I went to UDC, University of District of Columbia, and I walked into the testing center, made an appointment, went to the testing center, and just took the GED. I didn't study for it. I didn't buy any books. I didn't know the format, nothing of it. I just went in and I took the GED. I passed by 1 point. But I didn't know what to do. I still wasn't at that point where I said, okay, I'm going to go to university. I'm going to do something. I'm going to make all these changes. I was almost there. And it took me moving to Hong Kong. A lot of things, that's a whole nother story. Wonderful story at that. And I'll make a video about that at some other point, when it's relevant. And I moved to Hong Kong, and I started a couple businesses and stuff like that with the money that I'd worked hard to make and save and everything like that. But I started teaching English on the side just because I'm a native English speaker. And for any of you that know, if you go to other countries, just by being a native English speaker, even people that aren't native but they have good English, you can get a job tomorrow as a English teacher. And so I started doing that. Just part-time, just to try to get some extra money while the business, so I didn't take money from the business in order to live. And when the businesses didn't work out the way that I wanted them to, and ended up closing them and everything, which I learned a lot from, and that's another video, learning from your failures, is I started to fall in love with teaching. I started to realize that, hey, you know, I kind of like this. I kind of like being able to teach people things. Because I'm still a teacher now, but I have qualifications now. And it's not about teaching English a lot with me. It's about if I can teach my students something, right? I'm not going to go into, you know, grammar rules and everything like that. I'm going to go into, you know, let's learn a language through life, you know, and understanding more about life and what life presents you, and how you deal with it. This can help you in learning to have better English or language skills. And so, but I realized that also there was still a limit as to what I could make as a teacher in Hong Kong, unless I'm ready to work, you know, 80 hours a week, 7 days a week, you know, all of that type of stuff, which people do. And I worked really hard at it at times because that was all I could do. I realized I need to get some sort of education, something on paper that says I know something. And so I went and registered for classes at Hong Kong, at Open University of Hong Kong, started my degree, went hard. I finished a 4-year degree in 3 years because every semester I took the maximum amount of courses that you could take, and I wrote a letter to the dean every semester to request another class so that I could have permission to take another class. So I was overloaded with classes, and I finished it quickly. And that wasn't enough. So I got this great job as a teacher, great contract, great benefits. But then that wasn't enough, you know, because now I realized that I could do it. That I didn't not have an education because I'm stupid or something. It was just I didn't put forth the effort. And so for anyone, if you need to put forth effort to make the positive changes in your life. And that's what I realized. You know, I realized, first of all, I'd made it to Hong Kong. I had moved. I worked hard and I made it to Hong Kong, and I'm in Hong Kong. I'm living a whole nother life that's different than what I had known from 28 years of growing up in Washington, D.C. and in America. I lived a little bit in Florida. But, you know, you got to put forth that effort. And without that effort, things are not going to come to you. You know, you're not just all of a sudden going to be handed a pile of money or happiness or fulfillment, satisfaction with who you are and your life that you've lived. So I started going after it and putting forth that effort. And I said, okay, well, I'm taking another step. And I now have a master's degree. And I'm applying for a doctorate's degree. And that it doesn't make it... I'm not trying to, you know, say that, oh, you know, I'm doing something that's better or I'm better than anyone else. But what I'm saying is just that if I can do it, you can do it. You know, like I said, I dropped out of high school at 16, and now I'm at this position. And it's about the effort. It's about going after something and keep going after it until you get it. And it changes you. Getting an education changes you for the better. You start to have confidence in yourself in places where you didn't have confidence before. Before getting my degrees and going after, you know, education, formal education in such a way, I always thought that I couldn't do it. Like, I looked at people with a degree and I said, wow, they must be brilliant. They must, you know, they're really smart. But then I started meeting people with a degree and like, wow, he's a dumbass. How did he get a degree? And then I realized, well, wait a minute. I'm not a dumbass. I don't look at myself like that. I can do it. And so you get that bit of confidence. And also before you even register for a class, and you're looking at classes and you're making the ideas in your head about that you want to go to school, you want to get a degree, you want to do something. It doesn't have to be a degree, it could be a certificate, it could be a diploma, anything. Even looking at the courses online, you start to feel better. You start to feel positive. You start to feel like you could see the change in you coming down the line, right? And that's powerful by itself. That is powerful by itself. And then you register for that first class. You get into the class, you're in there, and it's a strange environment for you if you haven't studied in a long time or ever. In my case, it was really ever. I'd never studied, didn't know how to study, I'm in there with a 3-ring binder. You know, that's how far back I was going from, 16 years old. I walk into the class with a 3-ring binder. People walking in with laptops, I didn't know. And so it changes you, and it changes you so much. And also, you start to meet people that are also going after those degrees, that are also applying themselves and learning and stuff like that. Obviously, especially as an adult, many of those people are much younger than you. But I did also meet people that were of a similar age and older than me. And, it's that whole, like-minded mentality, and you're having a shared experience now of you moving forward and they're moving forward as well. And you start to go after it. You start to go after it. And the biggest thing of it is that hands down, and we can look at the numbers and everything like that, statistically, usually, I guess I shouldn't say usually if I say statistically, people make more money with more education. So if that's your motivation to make more money, get an education. Get more of an education. Doesn't matter that you already got some of an education. Get more of an education. Put in your time. Always take a class. That's really what it comes down to, is just always taking a class. Always registered for something that where you're in that constant education mode. And yet that class doesn't have to be in academia. I mean, it could be in some sort of skill, some sort of thing that you enjoy doing, because you should always be learning the things that you enjoy learning. And the crazy thing of it is that now I'm a teacher, and I never thought when I'm dropping out of high school at 16 that I'm going to be a teacher. And it's funny how the world turns, right? Especially our own individual worlds. And so my message, as I come to a close here, my message is that getting an education changes you for the better, no matter what. No matter what, it changes you for the better. That's my phone ringing, so that means I gotta go. So I hope everybody moves forward, keeps moving forward. Understand that you gotta keep going. All right, you got to keep going. That one class turns into 2 classes, into 10 classes. Next thing you know, even if it takes you 5 years, 6 years, you got it. You reached that point where you were going, and then keep going. Keep going, everyone. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.